Right, hi S3, MS4 now actually. I want to kind of give you a wee quick help here on how to draw the transformations of some of these graphs. Okay, so the important thing is that we actually are quite aware of what the sine and the cosine graph look like to begin with. So let's have a wee look at a few points of interest on the sine and the cosine graph. Okay, so I'm going to start off with sine. Right, important points to note is that the sine starts at 0, 0. Okay, that point there that I'm putting in green. It's got a maximum value there at 91. Okay, it goes through 180, 0. It's got a minimum value at 270 minus 1, and it goes back to 0 at 360 degrees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write these numbers, these coordinates into a table here. Okay, so here's my table. Right, so what I have is sine x, y equals sine x. So y equals sine x, right? And the points on y equals sine x, okay, the important points of note where the first one was 0, 0. Okay, the second point was 91. The next point was 180, 0. Then I had 270 minus 1. And back to 360, 0. Okay, so always start off, these are the important points. Okay, so there are 5 important points there on the sine graph that we have to think about. So if I want to do a transformation of this graph, say I want to draw the graph of y equal to, let's say I want to do y equals 2 sine x plus 3. Okay, so say I want to draw the graph of y equals 2 sine x plus 3. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think what does that do to these coordinates. Okay, so the 2 is going to stretch the graph by a factor of 2, so it's the y coordinate that's changing there. Okay, so all the y coordinates there are going to be multiplied by 2. That's what that 2 does. And the plus 3 here means the graph gets moved up by 3, so all the y coordinates are going to go up by 3. So what happens then? Okay, so the x coordinates aren't going to change at all actually. So let's think. So 0, 0 will become 0, 3. Okay, so I've multiplied the y coordinate here by 2 and I've added on 3, which gives me 0, 3. Right, next coordinate, 91, so the 90 stays as it is. I'm going to, the 1 is going to be multiplied by 2 to get 2, and then I'm going to add 3 on, so give me 5. So that's now the maximum value of the graph, 95. 180, 0, well 180 is not going to change, but the 0 goes up 3, so it's 183. 270 minus 1, so 270 doesn't change, but the minus 1 gets times by 2 to give us minus 2, and we add on 3 to that, which will give us 1, and then 360 doesn't change, 0 times 2 is just 0, add on the 3 gives me 3. So these are the new coordinates for me to draw into the graph. Okay, so what I can do, okay, and just very, very roughly, I can now draw a graph, okay, like this, okay, and I can put these points into it. Okay, so my first point is going to be 0, 3, so I'll make that 0, 3 there, that's 0, 3. Then I've got 95, so make that 95 there. The next one's 183, there's my 183, and then I've got 271. Make that 271 there. It's a wee bit close to the axis than I would have liked it to be, but anyway, 271, and then 363. Okay, and when I draw the graph, I just draw the nice sine curve through it. Okay, and that's my y-axis, and that's my x-axis there. Okay, so take the coordinates. Look at the equation. It's getting multiplied by 2, the y coordinate, and adding on 3. and then just do that to your y coordinates, plot them into the graph and draw the nice shape through. Okay. Let's do a wee example with the cost graph. So again, we've got to look at the points of interest on the cost graph and take a wee note of them. So the points of interest, our first point there is 0, 1. Our second point is 90, 0. Down here is 180 minus 1, 270, 0, and 361. So I put them into a wee table here. Okay. And I put my coordinates in. So I had 0, 1, 90, 0, 180 minus 1, 270, 0, and 361. Okay, right, now what I'm going to try and draw is the graph of 2 cos x plus 30. Now let's think what this actually does to the graph. Right, so the 2 is stretching it, so that means all my y coordinates are getting multiplied by 2 when it's getting stretched. And that plus 30 actually does the opposite to what we would think. It's actually shifting the graph back to the left 30 degrees. So that would be the x coordinate that's changing by 30 degrees. It's going back 30 degrees. Okay, so y coordinate getting multiplied by 2, x coordinate moving back 30 degrees. So we're taking 30 away from each of the x coordinates. Okay, so let's do that to each of the coordinates we've got here. So 0, 1, so the 0, that's the x coordinate, is going back 30 degrees, so that's going to be minus 30. Okay, minus 30. And the 2, that's the y coordinate getting stretched by 2, so that'll just become minus 32. 90, 0, so 90 is moving back 30, which would be 60. And the 0 is getting times by 2, which still gives us 0. 180 minus 1, so 180 becomes 150. And minus 1 becomes minus 2 when we times it by 2. 270 back 30 degrees is 240. And 0 becomes just 0 when I times it by 2. And 360 back 30 degrees becomes 330. And 1 when I times it by 2 becomes 2. So once again, these are my new coordinates, and I'm just going to fire them into the cosine graph. Okay. So instead of starting at 0, it's going to start at minus 30. And it's got a value here at 2, so that's minus 32. Minus 32 it's starting at. Okay. Instead of cutting at 90, 0, it's going to cut at 60, 0. So I'll say that's 60, 0. Okay. Instead of having a minimum at 180 minus 1, it's going to have a minimum at 150 minus 2. Minus 2, and then it's 240, 0. Okay, and finally 332. Okay, and then we're just going to draw a nice curve through that like that. Okay, now it would start to go back down again, okay, because you probably want to show that the graph continues on there. Okay, but that's roughly what you're wanting to do with that. So start off with your important points. These are the ones they're cos, I've told you the ones they're sine. Work out what's happening to them. So the number in front is stretching the y, it's inside the bracket is changing your x. Okay, and give it a go and let me know how you got on.